Welcome back to Lots of Lore. Today I give to you Vi's short story, Interrogation 101. Enjoy. Vi stifled a yawn as she moved through the gilded chamber at the heart of Piltover's Hall of Lore. Dawn was less than an hour old, and the place was quiet. A few drunks were sleeping it off in the shaming cell, and she heard there were a couple of chem-augmented thugs in the deeper, more secured lockups. She'd ask around later, see if she could provide any insight as to what they were doing up in Piltover. She rolled her shoulders, the muscle there stiff after a hard night's work. It had been a long shift, and her forearm were aching from the pressure of her powered gauntlet. All she wanted to do was to go back home, get them off, and bathe her fist in ice water. Maybe throw back a few glasses of something strong, and sleep some, but the numer tube from Caitlin had been full of imperatives about getting herself down to the district house on the double. Vi had cocked an eyebrow, tossed the message, and given it an hour before leaving her cramped home in the dress market's quarters to answer Caitlin's summons. "Hey, Hagner," she said to the desk warden when she reached the cell. "What's so important Caitlin has to drag me from an erotic dream about—" Stop right there," said Hagner, without looking up from his elevated disc as he ran a finger down the list of prisoners brought in during the night. "I'm not in the mood to hear all of your lurid fantasies." "You're sure?" grinned Vi, leaning on his disc and blowing a loose strand of pink hair from her eyes. "This was a good one, had a plot and everything." "Quite sure," said Hector, looking away and holding up a chart sheet. "Caitlin and Morhan brought in a Hextech thief last night. He hasn't said a word to anyone, but she thinks you might be able to get him to talk." Vi arched an eyebrow as she scanned the page. "Davaki, you've been a very naughty boy," she said, rolling her eyes and curling her metal fingers into a fist. "Yeah, Davaki and I knew each other back in the day. I'll get him to talk." Hector shook his head, saying, "Listen, Vi, I don't want to have to call the surgeon back here again. Caitlin wants this fella to be able to speak when he goes before the procurator." "Where is she anyway?" asked Vi. "She isn't even here to say hello." "Chasing down a lead at the docks," said Hagner. "Said she'd figured you could handle this one on your own. She wrong about that?" "Nope," said Vi, turning and sashaying towards the cells. "Which cell Davaki in?" "Number 6, but remember he got to be able to talk." Vi nodded and said, Yeah. She reached cell 6 and slid back the locking bar. Normally another warden would secure the door, but Vi didn't need anyone at her back. She knew Davaki from the old days, even worked with him a few times before the job with the Factorwood fiends went bad. Davaki was a thief, not a fighter, and if she needed backup to restrain his scrawny frame, then it's time to find a new line of work. Davaki was sitting on the edge of the chipped hunk of stone they called a bed, with his back to the wall and his knees drawn up to his chest. He cradled one arm close to his body, the limb ending in a bandaged stump where his hand ought to be. He looked up as she entered, and his eyes widened in surprise. "Vi?" "Piltover's finest," she said, with a petite curtsy that, despite where he sat, made Davaki smile. "What happened to your hand?" "Your damn sheriff shut it off," he said. "What happened to yours?" "I got an upgrade," said Vi, holding up her Hextech gauntlet. They hummed with a low buzz as she turned them around to let Davaki see just how powerful they were. "Fully customizable with variant levels of hurt. I can punch through walls with these babies." "Yeah, I heard what happened to the Ecliptic Vault," said Davaki with an easy smile, as if he were talking to the old Vi, the Vi from the lanes. He wasn't bright enough to know that that Vi wasn't the one standing in front of him. Davaki held up the arm ending in a stump. "I'm gonna need an upgrade too. This was a high-end augment from Bronzio. The sheriff didn't need to shoot it off." "You can bill her," said Vi, closing the distance between them in 2 strides and lifting Davaki off his feet. She threw him against the opposite wall, rattling his bone and sending plastered dust billowing from the air. Davaki slid to the floor, shocked and gasping for breath. "They've been playing nice so far, but now they sent you in. What gives?" "I'm the one they sent in when asking all polite doesn't get you anywhere, Cupcake," said Vi, letting the power build in her gauntlets. "I am the one who will go to town on you with these beauties. Unless, of course, you tell me what I want to know." "Whoa, wait, Vi, what are you doing?" sputtered Davaki, holding his remaining hand out before him as he scrambled to his feet. "I'm interrogating you. What's it look like?" "But you haven't asked me anything." Vi cocked her head to the side. "Yeah, I should probably get on that." She reached down and hurled Devaki to his feet, applying growing pressure on his shoulder. So, who's going to buy that stolen hex tech? Devaki winced in pain, but didn't answer. Come on, you're tougher than that, said Vi, releasing his bruised shoulder. You want to see what happened to a face when I don't pull my punches? No! Cried Devaki. Then tell me what I want to know. I can't! Vi tapped a finger on her chin, as if waiting rather to punch him again. She smiled. The expression worried Devaki more than the thought of her fist. Be a shame if word got round the lanes that you've been informing on all your criminal friends the last couple of years. What? Said Devaki, sputtering in pain and indignation. That's a lie! Of course it is, said Vi. But I know all the right people to talk to down there. A lot of folk will listen if I let it slip that you're in the warden's pocket. I'll be dead in a day if you do that, protested Devaki. Now you're catching on, said Vi. Tell me what I want to know. I'll make sure it gets about your resisted arrest. Even give you a black eye so it look like I beat it out of ya. Devaki's shoulders slumped, knowing he had no defiance left in him. Fine, I'll tell you what you want to know. Excellent, said Vi. Now we're getting somewhere. And that is Vi's short story, Interrogation 101. And this is also why I love Vi. It just tells you so much about her character and how she's willing to beat the living crap out of you instead of just asking around for questions. This is a very old short story though. It's around 4 years old if I'm not wrong. So a lot of things can be different from this version of Vi to the Vi that we'll see in the Arcane TV series. Though I hope that it's gonna be something like this. But again, this is recorded before the first episodes have dropped, so I don't know. The next story on this channel is going to be Caitlin's bio, since it's just got an update. And then after that, we're probably gonna go through Progress Day. So, now that you know that more things are coming, why don't you subscribe? It's free, it costs you absolutely nothing, and it will make me very happy. And remember, I will try to release all the stories connected to the champions that will be in the Arcane TV show, like Heimerdinger, Jinx, Jace, maybe Victor. But until next time, enjoy.